We voted twice to stay in the union. We were just a newly formed state. We didn't want to fucking just leave, you know? Yeah. But our legislators ended up, you know, the third time's a charm, I guess, fuck around, and we finally left the union to go join the Confederacy.
Right.
And, yeah, the people didn't even want to do that shit. We didn't want to do that. We just wanted to sit here and make the money. We were the gateway to the West. I mean, at Fort Smith, because of all that shit got rerouted up north, up through Tennessee and everything. All the freight, the trains, and everything. It's hurt our state. We've been almost last ever since then.
Right.
So yeah, to get you know, it's kind of sad that, you know, God, I'm like, oh man, we're closing in on 40th.
Right. Yeah. What's up, Kevin?
Not much.
But we helped save the bald eagle. We helped save the white-tailed deer. You know, we've done some good things that people don't talk about, but we were really instrumental in saving the bald eagle and the white-tailed deer in the state of Arkansas.
Oh. I gotta go feed and shoot insulin into my dog. Be right back.
Okay.
You got it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was watching the video. I didn't even know I had a big old exclamation point across my face.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I
was in a tornado zone.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But yeah, it was weird. It was weird because it had the exclamation mark, but then there was nothing wrong with your video or stream. So I don't exactly know what that was.
I just upgraded my internet since we started playing. Not necessarily because of us playing. My son bought a computer, and the bandwidth of the home, we started competing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that my wife allows me to indulge on is having good internet, and I think we have the fastest tier available. We're over a gig, and so I mean it's really nice. But she's excellent at like, so we'll have like a contract or whatever, and it'll be time to renew that contract, and she will get on the phone with Comcast Cable and be like, oh, well, you know, what can you offer me? And she'll sit there and wheel a deal with them for an hour. And then we'll end up paying less per month than we were paying previously. And they'll give us all this free shit. And we'll have higher speed. So, you know, it works out. But, it's really nice having internet speeds where you go to download something and it's like, oh, it's going to be 27 gigs. Okay, well, that'll take me about 15 minutes. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, man. I used to trade MP3s and all that stuff before Napster and all that. I mean, it was like on the IRC networks.
Right.
Yeah. Where you fuck around and go to the wrong place and then your computer stops working.
Right.
You know? Yeah. But, you know, I used to do that, and I remember, God, just getting like an MP3 sometimes would take just one song, if it was a nice, good quality MP3, 30 minutes.
Oh, easy. Back in the 1440. Yeah, 56K modems. Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy. But we got free music.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in those days, everything was the dark web. Like, literally everything. Every corner was the dark web.
Yeah. I liked when people put, they like, deceptively named the songs. They were like... Right. Nirvana and Trent Reznor collab. And you're like, oh, really? And it's just some shitty song by, like, fucking a nobody. But you spent an hour. Yeah, you learned some hard lessons, man.
Yes.
Back then.
Oh man, we used to have fun though. We would change our names to girl names and share links to our website. But the website was, I mean, it really wasn't malicious. But you'd open it up, and if you were running like Windows 98 or something like that, it'd be like You are an idiot. Ha 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 ha. It'd be a little smiling, bouncy, smiley face going across the screen. So you go to hit the X because it's bullshit, right? But now 2 of them pop up. You are an idiot. Ha 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 ha.
Well, I saw something, or my wife found something the other day that was the most hilarious joke ever. If you're at work and one of your coworkers doesn't lock their computer before they go to lunch or whatever, what you do is you go and you take a screen capture, just hit the print screen button and paste it into like Paint and save it as a JPEG, then set it as their desktop and move the icons around.
Wow.
so the original desktop is now their background image, and none of the icons work. And then watch the chaos ensue as they sit there and click on stuff for a half an hour.
That's hilarious.
So, Carrie, you're going to be leaving us at 8 tonight?
Yes.
Because
sadly, I have to be at work at 4:30 in the morning.
That's actually before the butt crack of dawn.
Yeah, it is. I will be dressed and caffeinated to witness the butt crack of dawn.
Yeah, that's like the taint of dawn.
Yeah, it really, really is. Given
hey, I'll be there with you. I get on an Uber at 4 a.m. to catch a plane.
Ugh. Ugh. Hopefully, you're going someplace enjoyable.
I am going to 4 days of gaming.
Well, nice. Then that makes it worth it. 4:30 a.m. to go to work is.
I'm going to be unloading boxes of bananas. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Yay!
Not quite as fun.
Yes.
But such important work, right? So important.
Right. Let me double check. Where is my Mr. Corey?
I don't know. Your bananas may be more fun than the plane ride.
True. That could be the case.
I bet your plane ride would be a lot more fun if you role play like you're Gollum. Don't tell no one that you're doing it. Just sit there and mumble about your precious and rock back and forth and randomly say Gollum.
Actually, I kind of like that idea. There he is.
Yeah. Everybody respects crazy. They might not like it, but they'll respect it.
Okay.
So, as long as they don't land the flight and throw me off.
Right, yes.
Yeah, well, you don't go that crazy. See, there's a fine line between bad crazy and just, oh, he's crazy. You have to overlook him.
Welcome to the Pirates of Drinax. We'll be picking up where we left off last week. If you are just tuning in, to recap where we left off in a little bit of a cliffhanger. The travelers here had finally caught up to Dr. Jali, and Lemuel Vinus revealed himself to actually be an android, or not really an android. He is a drone of a type that is in reality the Immortal Protector, the godlike being that is the basis for the Shield Church on the planet Neumann. And so where we left off was that he wants to take Jali from the planet Mirage, where they are currently on, to Neumann, because there is a 40% chance that what she is attempting to do is going to work. And Jali has sucked out some of the nanites from, what was his name? Archon Dreek. So she has Archon level nanites in her system now. And like I said, there's a 40% chance that her plan may work. And so the Immortal Protector, the last thing that he told you was that he kind of wants to see if this is going to work, because if it does, then there is no need for him any longer. It's kind of like, I don't know, if there's no more sin in the world, you don't need Space Jesus. So that's kind of his thing, and you guys have been able to sit on your decision Now, keep in mind, he also spontaneously grew an FGMP-16 in one of his hands. So that's kind of a pretty big diplomatic chip on his side. So I don't necessarily know that you want to go guns blazing. But
yeah, but he doesn't have an Aslan, so.
Well, you know, everybody likes barbecued cat, right?
I'm slowly moving away from the Aslan.
So, before we get started, we'd like to thank a friend of the Greenwater Guildhall. These are not sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They're just stuff that we really, really like. And the links to these guys will be posted down below in the video description. Tonight, we would like to thank Dogmight Games. Dogmight Games makes beautiful wooden accessories for your tabletop role-playing games, such as wooden DM screens, dice vaults, dice trays, dice towers. They have this really cool thing called the Player Vault. Definitely check out the Player Vault. Just a ton of stuff. And they can customize almost anything. I say almost anything. I've never run into anything that they couldn't customize, but definitely check with them. If you order something that's customized, it will usually take 6 to 8 weeks to ship from the time of purchase. And if you are in a hurry, they have a bunch of stuff that is in stock right now. Just go to their in-stock section and peruse. And that stuff usually ships in 1 to 2 business days. If you're going to order everything they make makes a fabulous gift for the gamer in your life. And with Christmas coming up, now's the time to really think about that. They do have a notice out that if you are going to order for a gift, you need to get, this is for customized items, order by November 14th so that you can receive it by Christmas. So November 14th, beyond that, don't know that you'll get customized items by Christmas. We do have a 10% discount code. It's good for everything on their site. When you go to the site, put whatever you're going to purchase into your cart, and then you can use the code FRIEND in all capital letters when you check out, and that will net you 10% off on your cart. If you are a fan of our Traveler games on Wednesday nights, we do have a website via Obsidian Portal. The website's adventure log is written in the manner of news service articles from Traveler News Service. The Travelers are starting to take more and more front page notice, especially recently, because the situation has gotten a bit hot for them on the legal side of things. There is a bounty of 86,000 credits for each and every one of them individually, and they are on the naughty list right now, and the Imperium has taken notice. If you're a fan of that page, please go to the front page and give us a thumbs up. We like to see the fan likes, and we hope you enjoy the content. So before you make or before you state your decision, and I'm going to give you a chance to discuss, the Immortal Protector, who you know as Lemuel Vinus, and he, hold on here, my long list, here he is. So he's not looking as, I mean, he still looks dorky, but not nearly as bad as he did before. At least he doesn't have glasses. He tells you, he says, that, so I have also had a week to think about this. And I can understand your position. What do you guys get out of this, right? So he says that he can offer you a few things. He says, if you accompany Jali and I to Neumann and allow her to activate her experimental nanotech, I can promise you a few things. The first being that you will have a safe port on Neumann. Anytime you are in Gazulan subsector, you may dock and your ship will be secreted away into the Shield Church enclave, and you will be protected. That's not to say that Neumann will become, I don't want to say that Neumann will become a haven. It's simply that you will have the protection of the Shield Church. So there's that. The other thing that I can do for you is I can put you in contact with someone that may actually be able to help you with your legal situations as they were.
Better call Saul.
He's better than the guy that he's got in mind is better than Saul, but he doesn't mention any names just yet.
But I mean, considering how everything has transpired from the time we've met and until now, what exactly have you contributed that you would argue makes us want to trust you? I mean, your whole thing up until this last couple of minutes has been a lie. So, I mean, you know, there's a certain thing of, you know, you can promise us the golden egg, but if you don't have the goose, no one's going to lay it.
Yeah, but he's got the big goose gun in his hand that just grew out of nothing.
That's
yes, but you know,
quacking, if you will.
we can make our decisions based on the gun if we want. But if we're talking about doing a decision based on trust, of promise the big, this guy just promised us tech world, and now it's kind of like, oh well, now if we go along with you, it's not tech world, it's a different planet, but but it comes with a quest that we need to do first. So I mean, I feel like he's just bait and switched it. So
to answer your question, it doesn't really answer your question, but it is a reasoning as to why the deception thus far. And he tells you, he says that, he has a little story. So he tells you that everything that everybody knows about the Immortal Protector, the being, you know, coming down from the sky to save his dying love and riding a ship of silver flame. He says that's all bullshit and lies. And he says, first of all, he says, he says that 1,500 years ago, an archaeological team in the Trojan Reach found an ancient relic and brought it back to Neumann for study. The 12 ruling artificial intelligence examined it, and 11 of them came to the same conclusion, that the artifact contained a blueprint for a transcendence engine. It described how to encode information in the structure of jump space itself, how to reconcile psionics with physics, and how to transform living minds into beings of pure thought, immortal godlings to whom thought and deed would be a single act. The 12th AI disagreed with these conclusions. It is too good to be true, I argued. This is a berserker trick, a booby trap left behind by a previous civilization. If you are smart enough to build this thing, then you are a danger to them. This thing does not transcend, it will kill us all. The other 11 AIs did not heed my warning and began to assemble the Transcendence engine. What could I do? I hacked into the assembled nanotech and commanded it to stop. The other AIs tried to override the hacking in an ensuing cyber war. The nanotech received trillions of contradictory commands. In a desperate attempt to even the odds, I commanded the nanotech to attack the infrastructure of the other AIs. They tried to counter this in turn, but the nanotech was already in their systems, and they were partially deconstructed even as they ordered their own reconstruction. The nanotech blindly flailed around, devouring whole continents in an attempt to simultaneously make and unmake the machine and the AIs. Chaos has reigned until this day. Now, the reason for my deception is that nobody knows that I am the 12th AI, aside from those of us assembled here. Nobody knows that the Immortal Protector is a drone android that is reconstructed every generation. I allow the AI, or I allow the drone to age and die, as it were, to then be reborn anew. This is the only way that I can protect the people of Neumann from the other 11 AIs who are still out in the swarm zones of Neumann. So you can see I had to conceal my identity.
If we had known this, though, we probably wouldn't have nuked that ship, right? Or was...
So...
That's right. I mean, we wouldn't have thought, the dangerous plague. I mean, yeah.
He says
we thought it was like nano plague was being unleashed. And you were right there and didn't say anything. And I mean, man, we killed all those people. And
he volunteered to go on board with me and check it out.
He did, yeah. That's all he said, though. I mean, it wasn't like I'm a...
Yeah.
The reality is that you were not completely in the wrong in delivering nuclear fire to that vessel.
Oh, thank God.
In Jali's current state, because of how... Now, all of you can make a recon plus intellect check, and you all get to make it with a boon.
Yay. 13. Heck yeah.
12.
Okay.
Rexar got a 10.
Okay.
I rolled 2 1s and a 2. So even with +2 for recon and +2 for intellect, what is that? 2 and 2, 7. I am not believing. I am rolling my eyes so hard at the nonsense that he's spewing that I'm missing important information because I don't believe any of it.
What did Rexar get?
Rexar got a 10.
Okay. So, Ching Shi, roll, make a sanity check.
Oh, shit.
You don't exactly have sanity.
So it is one of the bonus skills. There was moral, luck, charm, and sanity.
Oh, okay. So my sanity is plus 1. I was looking at like the collection, admin explosives. I'm like, sanity doesn't appear to be in there. Okay. Let's see. 6.
A total of 6?
I really don't believe in.
So what is your sanity score?
Plus 1.
Okay. So you got a total.
And then I rolled 5.
Okay. You lose 4 sanity points.
Okay.
So I don't know what that makes your sanity now.
Makes it 6.
Okay, so you are at 0. Not enough for you to go completely batshit, but you are kind of It has affected.
It's not Rexar that's going to shoot him.
It has affected Ching Shi slightly in a sane way. In her sanity, she is kind of startled at the fact that Lemuel, the dorkiest person she's probably ever met, the most annoying person that's ever stepped foot on your ship, is really this godlike being. And you don't believe a word that's coming out of his mouth. The rest of you notice that Dr. Jali, since she sucked up some of the nanites from Archon-Dreek, her entire demeanor has changed. She has become much more calm. And the Immortal Protector goes on saying, you are not entirely in the wrong in delivering nuclear fire to that vessel. In Jali's state at the time, because of the flame knight, modified flame knight nanite that was in her bloodstream, she was acting on impulse alone. And in that impulse, she infected that entire crew. They were little more than nanite-controlled monsters. They spoke and screamed in microwave and radio frequencies. They saw in radar. They were no longer human. You did them a service by ending them.
Woo! Well, that's good news. I was feeling pretty bad about what I had done.
Which is why I am willing to assist you with your current legal problems. You do not deserve the issues that you and your group are now facing. At least not all of them.
Well, I'm down with robot space. That's my official.
Can I run a sci-tech science check to see if I believe the shit that they were, or if I have any idea that they were talking about some futuristic mind mesh between psionics and all of that.
You can go ahead and make a science check. As far as, I mean, he's telling you what the other 11 AIs believed, and basically they believed that this ancient relic, if the transcendence engine could, now there's a couple of things that sound like bullshit. Anybody with any science background, that information and data cannot be transmitted through jump space. That's kind of one of the laws, at least that you guys know. I mean, and it's hard to really call it a law because the reality is that nobody really understands what jump space actually is. Yet you guys do it every day. So, that should put into perspective a little bit more about how you're taking your own life into your hands every time you hit the jump button.
So, can they offer us any assurances or help with? I mean, we really don't. You're talking about Neumann, which is a far away from kind of our stomping grounds, whereas Tech World is right there, kind of in our back door. And I mean, you kind of promised some stuff there. What is going on with those promises that you made?
Did he make the promises? He was just an assistant professor in Tech World.
But he came in. Well, who's the one that wasn't he the one that came in with all the information telling us that, hey, we've got to run and hurry and he's going to come along?
No, that was Dr. Hodal.
Okay.
Who is the head of the Science Council.
Okay.
He was introduced as the expendable guy they're sending with us.
Yeah, Lemuel Vinus was originally nothing more than Dr. Jali's assistant. A lab assistant, and now you know why he was a lab assistant, because that was the best position for the Immortal Protector to watch everything that she was doing.
Fair enough. Can they offer us anything to keep us with good standing with Tech World? Maybe make it look like we had accomplished the mission they had sent us on?
He says that the person that he has in mind that will be available to take care of your legal issues will have another world that will join in alliance with Tech World once your legalities are taken care of.
Can they provide some GDQ command codes where someone could forge departmental orders and stuff?
He says the gentleman that I have in mind is capable of a great many things. And I believe that Qingxi, Captain Smith, and Chief Engineer Clark may have met him before. His name is Rafe Zentuli. He's an information broker and fixer. You guys
I'd just like to get some of those nanites out of the top tier ones.
Yeah, no, he's not willing to part with those. But he's right. You guys have met. Then this was a very long time ago on Marduk, when you first became pirates, and you helped the old retiring pirate woman. She introduced you to Rafe Zentuli. He's a scoundrel and a rogue, very rich, runs in high-end circles. But like I said, he's mostly an information broker, but he does occasionally also act as a fixer, as the case may be.
Well, in light of all that, I think that we should go with the Revolution then. Immortal Protector,
I will.
If it was my world, I would want to take the 40% chance to try and save it.
What happens with the other 60?
Good question.
So that is the good question. And so anybody who has any science skills can make a, if you've got even a 0 in science, you can make a science plus intellect check or education, your choice.
Got 8.
I got a 9.
Okay.
10.
Okay.
Oh, I got a 2. Hey, you know what?
Rexar has.
I'm feeling lucky.
Nothing in
I'll bet on
science,
40% to win.
What's Rexar doing?
He doesn't have anything in science, so he can't make the roll.
So
could we do that? Could we just see if let us gamble on this 40%, make a gambling roll, and then blam, we have a whole bunch of money when he makes it?
So in the grand scheme of things, and you guys have not been to Neumann, so you don't know how bad it is. But in the grand scheme of things, the way it sounds, there's this nanite, they call it the nanite swarm, or the gray goo. And it sounds like it can't get any worse, right? So if this doesn't work in the grand scheme of things, the nanites just continue doing what they're doing, which is wreaking havoc. If it works, then there's a possibility that they can start to reclaim sections of the planet. And the nanite swarms will be pushed back even further, possibly to the point where the nanite swarms are completely quelled and Neumann can be brought back to its golden age of tech glory. I mean, at one time, Neumann was like a TL-16 society until, these 11 AIs, or really 12 AIs, went to war with one another. So,
jeez.
If it doesn't work in the grand scheme of things, then nothing changes. Now, that's in the grand scheme of things. In the you're here watching this happen scheme of things, I mean, we'll have to see. How bad do things go?
I think we should collect as much data as we can, and regardless of how it turns out, people on Tech World will want that. So, because it's like a big experiment,
That's
right?
True.
I'm going for the bet. We'll take the odds, or the long odds.
Yeah.
So do you want to take them to Tech World? Or, I'm sorry, take them to Neumann? Is that...
Yes. We need to tell the psychopomp, that the threat is neutralized, they don't have to worry anymore, and we're taking off, right? We should let him know before. That might help him feel more relieved before his speech.
Well, that's true. Okay. Okay. So, the Immortal Protector thanks you, and he tells you on the ride back to the makeshift gravel parking lot that you had left the now newly christened Anubis in, the Harrier. He tells you that he thanks you because he would much prefer to travel in comfort aboard your very nice commerce raider as opposed to flying on Jali's now partially irradiated jalopy far trader.
Did they let that guy go that they tied up?
Yeah, Jali explains that the guy that was tied up was actually he was actually the chauffeur, and so she had knocked him out, tied him up, and it took his uniform, which actually includes a face shielded helmet, since these air rafts are open, they're convertibles. And that way nobody would know who she was. They wouldn't suspect that anything was afoot. And that's how she infiltrated and got to be the driver. Now, Qingxi, you lost some sanity to this. How are you feeling about the captains and the group's decision to do this?
I think it's a terrible idea, but because my sanity is questionable, I think we should just glass the nano being who thinks that he's a god.
So the nanites that chilled out Dr. Jali, would they chill out Qingxi also? Just out of curiosity.
No.
Oh, never mind.
Don't you dare.
I was going to offer him nicely and not. Okay. It won't work, though, so never mind.
So
just regular Xanax for you. Don't worry.
What about, how do they feel about me selling the far trader that they're going to leave behind? Since they're just going to leave it, and they're going off to bigger. I mean, if they succeed or fail, this far trader will just be a headache that they've left behind. Whereas I could gladly sell that and use it to help make sure that their ride to their destination will be more comfortable.
So
slightly irradiated with a particle beam hull.
Right,
hey,
some assembly
you
required.
might see that as bad, but you don't need night lights anymore. It's got a nice glow.
Stolen from the Imperium, so they might get a little upset if we tried to steal it here.
It was stolen from a perfectly innocent trader on a merchant on Tech World, so you probably don't want to sell it. I mean, it would probably be better to. It would look better for you if you were to see to its return to the rightful owner.
Oh, that's just not really what I'm into.
That's not my thing.
Yeah. I mean, is there a chance that I could locate a black market and try to sell it there?
Here on Mirage?
Sure. There's always a black market. It's only free market exists is the black market.
So how are you? So before we get into that, my question is, of course, is how are you guys contacting the prince, letting him know that the situation is taken care of?
We used the phone last time.
Yeah, I mean, you could just call him. That's
what I
fine.
figured I'd do. Yeah.
Okay. And so what exactly are you telling Prince Herrick about this situation? And of course, you're probably not even talking to Prince Herrick. You're probably talking to one of his security, like the head of his retinue. Because, he's Prince Herrick. He's far too busy.
I suggest we lie and say that we are chasing the stolen guy's nanobots. Maybe if we off this guy that just got leached all his goodies, make sure he can't go talking.
Archon Dreek did not survive.
Oh, see, wonderful. That works out great.
I apologize.
I'm sorry to inform you, Prince, that Archon Drake is dead as hell. But we are on the trail of his murderers, and we will definitely provide you proof that he did not die in vain.
Didn't we tell him that this was like a disease threat also, though? So I think I was going to be vague and say that the threat is neutralized, which doesn't necessarily mean we killed anybody or whatever. It just
means it was dealt with.
Yeah, there's no threat any longer.
Yeah, you can keep it as vague as you want.
That's all.
Archon Drake is dead. I mean, we're going to have to report that, aren't we?
Why?
No. Yeah, we don't have.
That's
he's not even from
buddy.
your planet. I mean,
we'll find the body later, and we'll be really far away. That's our MO.
Yeah, Archon Dreek is a member of the Shield Church. He's not a member of Prince Herrick and the Psychopomp religion of Torpal.
Okay.
That Archon Dreek kicked it is really not I mean, he would say something along the lines of, well, that's a terrible tragedy, blah, blah, blah. And, it would be a footnote in the news on Mirage even. I mean, it might be a story, but other than that, it's not something that anybody is super concerned about.
Oh, no problem then. If that's the case, I'd like to go ahead and take the time to bury the body.
Okay, you can do that as well.
Thank you.
So
yeah, clean up after your stuff.
I think that's been our mistake, because we've not been tidying up our mess.
So, okay, so you take the time out in the middle of the desert. You bury the body, which, if mob movies have taught us anything, the middle of the desert is a great place to dig a hole. And so Dreek is appropriately buried. And you do see that in the sand, as you're digging this grave, you do see in the sand, there are these, they're about the size of your hand, that every once in a while you run across these spider-like creatures. They're not aggressive in any way, but you think that it's obvious to you that these are actually the Mirage spiders that is rumored to have made the people of Mirage so infamously wealthy. These small spiders are crushed and turned into something called Mirage liquor, that is a hallucinogen that allows you for absolutely perfect lucid dreaming, that you will be able to do whatever you want in your dreams, and you will be able to recall those dreams with perfect recall. Now, of course, there are medicinal purposes. There are medicinal purposes for people like Ching Shi right now. People dealing with a little bit of insanity, a little bit of PTSD. And that there is a pharmaceutical market that, of course, brings in a lot of money to the farmers of Mirage. But genuinely, that's not where the bulk of their income comes from. Vats and vats and vats of this shit is made and sold illegally all across charted space on the black market. So, if one little capsule of Mirage liquor is good, drinking a fifth of it must be fantastic. And that's where these guys go with that. And of course, it's highly illegal on the black market, but that is where you're that obviously, that's where this is coming from. And so you bury Dreek.
Can I take a lot of his hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I seriously, I want to take a bunch of his hair. This future time from now, I think I might try to covertly ransom this guy off. And if I've got proof of his existence, like with his hair, here's a bunch of his hair, pay me his money or your Archon guy gets it. And then just, once they forward me the money, just, there it is. I'll ghost them.
Oh my God, you guys. So, Ting, how are you going, if you want to try to sell Lord Gerald's Fancy on the black market as even for parts, you're going to need to make the first question is, how are you going to go about that? Are you going to go about that on the local interwebs, or are you going to try to go out in person?
I was hoping to go in person and kind of go around, market or trade brokers' places, and maybe use Streetwise to locate the market.
So while the captain is making her phone call to the prince, and Ching Shi and Keith are going over.
And someone needs to catch spiders.
Pre-flight. Ting, you can make a Streetwise plus intellect check.
8.
So Hobberville is a fairly small. Yes, it has a it has a spaceport, a Class A spaceport. The reason that it has a Class A spaceport, though, isn't because of its size, and it's certainly not because of the population of Mirage. It's because this big pink crystal mansion for Marquis de Haube is sitting there. It is essentially her spaceport, and Hobberville, which is the town around her mansion, isn't particularly large. They call it a town. It's really nothing more than a village. With an 8, you're just not going to find anybody that has any knowledge on selling starships or shipbreaking, or there's just not a big market for it here.
Yeah, well, if something's not working, there's no point in forcing it. That's for sure. So I'll forget about that ship.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not working, then it's not working. And we're in Imperium space, correct?
You are in Gazulan subsector, and however, with an 8, you are able to get a line on some of this Mirage liquor. You could get a case of Mirage liquor, which is 12 bottles for $5,000 credits.
Do I have a limit on how many I can purchase?
Just the one.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah. And
it is, I mean, the purchase of this case is quite shady. Literally in a back alley, as you are, the guy says, I don't know anything about shipbreaking or selling ships or anything like that, but I got this case of Mirage liquor if you want to buy it.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to buy the Mirage liquor.
Okay, so you have 12 bottles of Mirage liquor. And they're, pint-sized bottles.
Right.
And he says, don't drink that all at once.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that to the Anubis.
Okay.
And then, that'll conclude my planetary shenanigans.
Carrie, or Ching-Shi, make another sanity plus intellect check, this time with a +0.
Let's see, 9.
Okay, so you that sanity loss was temporary, and you get back all of your lost sanity points.
Excellent. I still think Nano Man should have to ride on the outside of the ship. And if he's a Nano Man, he should survive it. Just put him in a plastic bag and hang him out the window while we go.
So the Immortal Protector has avoided being around Ching-Shi. He makes a comment in passing, Beth in the hallway, that I am aware that your pilot Ching-Shi is not pleased being with me, and I can understand her feelings on the matter. So I have opted that Dr. Jali and I shall just stay in our quarters and avoid her as much as possible and make ourselves as indiscreet as possible.
I will serve him. I'll be the steward.
I don't want any of your tea and crumpets, Tank.
Oh no, I'm not doing. I mean, I'm legit saying, I'll care for them. If they're not going to trust me and worry about me spiking their stuff, that's their business. But I'll provide a good service. We here at Anubis Industries pride ourselves in a comfortable, smooth transition from jump space to regular space.
So this is Gazulan subsector. You are here on Mirage, and you need to get here on Neumann in a jump to spacecraft. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Phew. Yeah, you're gonna have to go the long way around.
Well, I mean, we could do a J3 jump. Don't we have those storage tanks?
You do have the storage tanks. You could fill up the storage tanks and do a J3. Well, you could do a J2 and a J1.
Yes. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that would cut down your jump time considerably. 1, 2, and then yeah. So you're looking at 3 weeks of jump time as opposed to 9. Yeah. So you would be your travel time would take about roughly 4 weeks and some change as opposed to 12 weeks. So, Qingxi can make a astrogation check, and we're going to see if this gets interesting.
Eight.
Okay.
That might be the worst astrogation
roll. It's still a +2 to J Drive. Keith, you can make a... Well, actually, and then Qingxi, you need to make a piloting plus dex check.
I'm having a good day. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Let's see, that's 4, 7, 8 again. Fuck.
Okay.
How do I have +5? When you add everything together, I have +5 for piloting. And I only got 8. That's pathetic. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a bad day.
Bum, bum, bum.
I'll try not to crash. I blame Nanoman.
It's
all Nanoman's fault.
Interesting. Oh, that's not the book I want. That's the book. Yeah, big shout out to Mongoose for the High Guard Update 2022 actually having an index. Fantastic. There we go. Okay, so Qingxi takes off, and her takeoff and flight seems completely normal, but you are noticed. Oh, that's large. and you receive a message. Actually, it's down here along. As you are leaving the planet's atmosphere, you receive a message from the patrol corvette Adversary. They call you out. Harrier class commerce raider, we register you as Anubis. We are ordering you to heave to and prepare for boarding for customs inspection. Please
Save us,
comply.
man. What do we do?
And on that, I have to dip. So I will see you guys next week.
Okay.
Hey, have a good rest.
Have a good night.
Thank you. I will listen to the playback.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Good night. So, yeah, the Adversary orders you to heave to and prepare for boarding for a customs inspection.
If we apply all our thrust, can we get to our jump point before they can really do anything?
I don't see how.
I want the god tier AI to weigh in.
So, that is, of course, an option. I believe...
Well, do we even have anything that's questionable at this time?
So this is what comes up on your computer as stats for a patrol corvette standard issue. So technically, yeah, you could floor it. You've got thrust 6 versus their thrust 4.
Yeah, that's true. We would have to. We would want to go the opposite direction they are too, from where they are.
Oh, most certainly. And of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
they are going to pursue because.
Well, you know, I'll tell them. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're executing our right to diplomatic immunity with the church. You must stand down and allow us to pass peacefully. And then we're going. You know, we're not asking.
Okay.
Right? I mean, if we're going, I might as well give them a cursory message, so at least something there's to advocate later on, so we don't burn the name Anubis.
Okay, so so you tell them that you are a diplomatic ship for the Shield Church. Is that where you're going with this?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Diplomatic ship church. It's against our religion to let you come in here. We're undergoing a massive event of awakening and enlightenment. To go against this would be a sacrilege. And we were under the full assurance that all of our religions would be respected when we came here to this meeting.
And Beth,
how dare you tell us to stop and do that in such a way?
Beth, you're sending for the Immortal Protector to come to the bridge?
I'm dashing towards his room like, hey, use your super brain. What would you do if you were me, guy?
Okay, so so first, Ting, go ahead and make a deception plus... you can make a deception plus charm check. Yeah, deception plus charm.
That's an 11.
Okay.
I invested a lot in deception in my character creation. And in case somebody that I'm serving tea and crumpets asks me if that dress makes their butt look fat, I'll tell them no.
So they...
Well, there's a slender rear end, man.
Okay, let's see what they have here. I mean, they're bigger than you are, but they don't have as good a shit as you've got. Make a comms plus, make an electronics comms plus intellect or education check.
Oh, that's a 5.
You detect that they are sending a transmission. It sounds like they're calling for backup from a couple of system defense boats.
Yeah.
But they are way out. At actually distant. And they are responding, and just your passive sensors are picking up that they are heading in your direction. Beth and the Immortal Protector come back to the bridge, and the Immortal Protector comes over to the comms communications console, and he picks up and he switches the broadcast to system-wide. So everybody's going to hear this. And his voice changes, and when he speaks, he sounds like Archon Dreek. This is Archon Dreek of the Shield Church. This is my emissary ship. We have diplomatic immunity. You will stand down. We are taking this vessel back to Neumann. Stand down immediately. And adversary reports back and says, voice confirmation. And he says, Dreek, 875 Alpha Beta Sigma. And adversary responds back, confirmed. We apologize, Archon. We have a report that there is a vessel of Harrier-class commerce raider that is wanted. We realize that class of vessel is capable of changing their appearance, and we apologize. We thought that perhaps these were pirates, but if you are using this vessel, then you have our apologies. You may continue on. And he cuts the communications off, and he doesn't even, confirm or say goodbye or anything. He just turns the comms off, and he turns around and he says, I think that you'll find our trip to Neumann will be a lot more less interesting.
Oh, well, yeah. Thank you very much. I want to go ahead and make a little note that I have, I want to digitize Archon Drake's voice that was going on.
Okay.
And that, no, because I have the Shriek box, and that just seems like something handy to be able to have. So I definitely want to go ahead and make a thing that I have Archon Drake's voice and
so that you can mimic his. Well, I mean, it went through your comms, so you would have a communications report.
Recording.
A recording, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I want to do it so, I mean, like, I don't have to necessarily be on the ship. I just want to say, I want to go ahead and make a file.
Right.
For his voice pattern so I can use it through my actual Shriek box.
Right.
Yeah. So and I got his code too, is that correct?
Yes, that would be recorded as well.
All right, thank you.
So, Keith, go ahead, and after so many hours, probably a couple days, actually, it's probably not a couple days, probably like at thrust 6, probably like 13 hours, you make it to the 90 diameter jump limit. Keith, go ahead and make a engineering J drive plus intellect or education check, and you get to add a +2 for that.
That is 18.
Wow.
Jesus. All right, so no miss jump, clearly.
Yeah.
And you guys bounce using your your collapsible fuel tanks. And I do have one question. Man, doing Archon Drake's voice kills my throat. Let's see here. That world is so useless. Well, it does have a Class D starport, so Ploderash does have a Class D starport. It is a very dry world. They have no gas giant. And it will cost you 700 credits per ton to refuel there, which means... How much is that? Does anybody remember the calculation for fuel off the top of their head?
For which?
For how many tons of fuel is required?
10% of your mass per jump 1. So jump 2 would be 20% of your ship's mass in tons.
So we have a 21-ton fuel bladder plus our normal tank, which is 42. So we have 63 tons that we need to fill.
Okay, so you are looking at 44,100 credits to refuel at Ploberdash.
Right, I'll do math.
And I really need to re-sign. This map is enormous. As you make your last jumps, and you come into the Neumann system. Now, this is the Neumann system. You saw it earlier.
Did you say my name?
Nope. But
okay.
I see you dropped out of Roll20.
Oh, shoot. Steak and egg showed up at the door, so I had to go get it.
Hey, man, you have to get steak and eggs. It's funny I had steak and rice. So, the at the top is the system map. The star in here, the star here is a G35, unnamed. I don't know. They didn't care about a name. Neumann is 0.94 AU from that star, so not quite one. And you'll notice that it is fairly close to a large gas giant. They have a gas giant in their inner system. Did you want to refuel at the gas giant first, or just land on Neumann? I mean, the Immortal Protector is, of course, willing to have the Shield Church refuel your vessel, and he'll refuel it for free.
Sure, let's refuel. That sounds smart.
Okay. So this
if we're riding into the Shield Church, we ought to suck that for everything we can, right?
Right. So this is Neumann, and it looks great, from the maps that you have of it. There's plenty of water. The world should be nearly a garden world, right? But then, as you are coming in to land, everybody make a recon plus intellect check. Ox got it.
7.
I got a
13.
9.
What did Beth get?
9.
Okay, so Beth got it. What about
12.
Rexar? Oh, Rexar got it. So Keith doesn't notice it because he's down in engineering and not a whole lot of things to look at out there. Ting is sitting at a console, and he looks up, and the rest of you look up, and out the window, as you can see that there is there's a city below you and that you're coming in, but then looking out on the horizon, you realize that you don't really see a horizon. At first you think that that's weird. This planet is covered in like a fog. And then you realize that it's not a fog. You see, the best description that I can give would be like if anybody's ever actually seen Mercury. It's a lot like Mercury, and every once in a while it's undulating, it's moving. And then you will see like a building form out of the ooze, and then the building will get dissolved and flash down. You'll see, like on a cloud, you'll see what appears to be people suddenly form, and then they disintegrate back into the ooze. This would be the swarm zone, and it covers more than half the planet. And I found this great picture of Neumann Starport, thanks to Reddit. I don't know who posted this, but it was pretty cool. This is Neumann Starport. And as you can see, as you're coming in, this building over here on the right is being disintegrated as you come in. It is the worst of a cyberpunk gone wrong kind of city that you've ever seen. The city itself, though, as you come in and land, you note that the starport and the city is pristine. Like, there are tons of people. I mean, all hours of the day, there's just a ton of people moving around. There are sections of the city that actually float above on grav repulsors. And everybody can make another recon plus intellect check.
Ten.
12.
8.
Okay. Nice.
And 11.
And what about Rexar? Rexar's stuffing his face.
What was it?
Make a recon plus intellect check.
8.
Okay, you all
1 and
made
a
it.
6 plus 1.
You all made it. So, as you're when you come into land, in the voice of Archon Dreek, the Immortal Protector once again uses his clout and his security code to basically force off any customs checks. You guys get priority landing. Fuel is ordered upon landing. And he turns to Keith and he says, is our vessel in need of any repairs?
I don't think so, actually, but I was not present for a couple of sessions, so I don't know.
Yeah, does anybody? I don't think you took any damage.
No, I think we're okay. Yeah, we're cool.
Rexar's too good at turreting. They don't get a chance to shoot back.
That's right. That's right.
Did you get the other half of the holographic hull redone yet?
Oh, the holographic hull's been repaired for some time.
Wow. See how up to date I am?
Yeah, they've done quite a bit of work. The Harrier is looking quite well. I think the most of it is going to be cosmetic internally, but they've done quite a bit of work. So you sat down, like I said, with priority, and as you come out and you're walking through the streets, the Immortal Protector is kind of keeping Jali close. You all look around, and it is, like I said, the streets are pristine. And the first thing that you notice is that people seem to start to freak out a little bit if they see any dirt at all, or any patch of rust, or anything. And then you see that there are flame knights in power or in battle dress that immediately, if a patch of mold, dirt, rust, whatever is found, the flame knights show up, and their way of cleaning it is to hit it with FGMPs, because any patch that is found could be the sign of an encroaching nanite swarm. And so all of these buildings, anything that is found is just immediately destroyed. The Immortal Protector takes you to a private motor pool in the Archon, or in the Shield Church Enclave, and they have a rather large air raft that is enclosed, and he tells you, he says that mostly it's enclosed for environmental comfort. I'm not sure that it'll be as protective should we run into a problem in the swarm, but we must go to a location called Bulwark 17, which is in the swarm zone. If you have any kind of heavy weapons, I would recommend bringing them.
All right.
Now, specifically, I mean, like I said, they use FGMPs, but Rexar's, any PGMP that you have would be good. I think the biggest problem with the PGMP, this is my view of PGMP versus FGMP, is the FGMP is kind of like a gout weapon. It's almost like a flamethrower, whereas a PGMP literally fires directed lightning bolts. But either way, either will be good, and he tells you to load up. You'll also want any battle dress that you have, just in case. And he gets into the car, and the car is actually interfaces with the Immortal Protector, and he doesn't even have to drive it. It just takes off and goes where he wants it to go. He wills it to where he wants it to go. And where it goes is to Bulwark 17. And as you travel through this gray, fog-like goo, you realize that there's nothing left as you're traveling. There's no mountains, there's no vegetation, there's literally nothing left. Everything is just gray goo. Until you reach Bulwark 17, which is a building that stands by itself in the middle of this cataclysm. He pulls it into this building, and everybody is allowed to get out of the car. And you realize that the inside of Bulwark 17 is kind of a one part computer center, one part nanite workshop. And Jali immediately starts to get to work. Does anybody want to attempt to assist her in what she's doing?
I'm a sciencey kind of guy. A little bit. Oh.
Science robotics?
Which
one is it?
That could help. It would be science nanite or nanotech.
Okay.
So,
I got biology and cybernetics. I don't know if that's applicable here.
I would allow biology to count.
Okay.
I have robotics.
All right, let's give it a shot.
I would allow robotics to count as well.
Okay.
Almost a jacked computer.
I got 11 on my roll. Maybe I'm helpful.
I got 10.
So, okay, and what did
I got a 7.
Okay.
I hindered their ability to move.
No, that's still going to be a +4 to her roll. Hold on here. I need to. Okay. Here we go. Okay. She gets, with your assistance, she gets a 10. And she releases her modified nanos, and you see her literally out of this console. You see these cables, almost like fiber optics, but you realize they're not. They're actually syringes. Several of them pierce her arms and just start to drain her of her blood. And Jali is essentially drained dry. She dies. But you see that from the outside there is a cloud being released into the air, and from Bulwark 17, and this cloud starts to interact with the nanite swarm, the gray goo around Bulwark 17, and you then notice that the swarm starts to slow, and you can see it starts to rain. Almost, but there are these little graphite raindrops, and the structures around Bulwark 17 start to reform, and you see that there is a small city forming here. It appears that her nanites have worked.
Yay, 40%.
Good bet.
Heck yeah.
I felt better about a 40-60 than a 50-50. It seems like the 50-50, 90% of the time I'm on the wrong side of that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's my 50-50-90 theory.
So the Immortal Protector tells you that he tells you that he thanks you profusely for assisting in this, and that all of Neumann will thank you. And he hopes that in the coming years that there will no longer be any need for him. Now, how the people of Neumann decide to deal with that, how the Shield Church, what happens to the Shield Church, what happens to their faith, and how they treat technology, he hopes that they will maintain what the Shield Church has taught them and not allow things such as nanotech and basically technology being allowed to run amok. He hopes that they will have learned from this and not do it again. But in the meantime, he has already, as you've seen, he's already promised that you will have a safe place with the Shield Church Enclave on Neumann anytime you are here. And he tells you that your next stop should be from here, and he realizes that it is a long trek, but you're going to want to go to the Cordon system, which is in the Borderland subsector. And he says that is where Rafe Zentuli will meet you. And I have... This is not the map I was looking for.
Will he provide me with any documentation to help me pretend like I'm Archon Drake?
Oh, absolutely not. He's not going to assist you with that.
Oh, well, that's sad.
But this is Corden, is all the way down here, kind of back near where this whole thing started. And he tells you that Rafe Centuli will meet you on Corden, and that he will have more details on how he's going to assist you with your legal problems.
Sweet.
So, is there anything that you want to do before you leave Neumann?
Do they have any nanites for sale?
No, absolutely not. all nanites that would be, and I say this, if you were to join the Shield Church and become a Flame Knight, nanites would be available to you. And
I think I already got that version.
Yeah, you probably already got it, and number two, probably none of you would be accepted. But it's not something that is for sale. It is a closely guarded, church and state type secret that there's no way they would allow it out of their sight.
Would they provide me with some protective clothing? Maybe something better than this vac suit that I'm keep wearing? Because I bought me really cool stuff, but because of this mission, I've not been able to go pick it up. And here I am, maybe something, kind of nice with a lot of crotch room. I need a lot of crotch room.
What were you looking for?
Something that they want to give me, as my money is invested in this power armor way back on Drinax. So I'm just trying to say, hey, you're all big Billy badass with this big badass, well stocked up church. Your guy here is about to go, do things to help you out, and I need something, to wear that's better than a vac suit.
Yeah.
You don't mind. You can remove the logos.
The Shield Church is willing to supply you with TL13 Polycarpus.
Yeah, I'll put that on.
Yeah, page 13 of Central Supply Catalog.
Yeah.
That gives you protection plus 16.
Nice. Yeah.
It's got nothing for radiation protection, but if you are waiting for battle dress, it'll take care of that for you. So yeah, the Shield Church will supply you with Polycarpus.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my character sheet.
Now, the other thing, all of you before leaving Neumann, you have been awarded 1 XP point, which you can spend however you like, purchasing new skills or technically you can buy characteristics too, but they're quite expensive. And I believe that is on page 38 of the Traveler Companion. As you guys are, while you guys are spending your XP point, Ching Sheet sets you guys up, and you are able to make your jumps. Now, again, this is a fairly long trip, just like it was long getting out there. There's not really a shorter way to do it. I'm going to assume that you shortened it a little bit by using your collapsible fuel bladder. Yeah. So that shortens it almost by half, not quite. But it takes you a while. Let's see, it was 9 weeks minus. Probably going to take you about 6 weeks of travel time, which brings it to about 8 weeks. 8 and some change. Getting all the way down to Corden. Now this is the Corden system. You'll note that Corden itself is way... I have a hard time believing this star map. I mean, it is an F4 5-star, so I guess 4AU might be in the Goldilocks zone, but 4AU seems like an awfully long ways from the parent star. But this is Corden. And Corden has the unique thing that their moon is like a volcanic hellhole. It's just an inferno. Probably not volcanic. It's probably more like Venus, where it's just so dense and hot that nothing could live there anyways. But Corden itself, it's got some water. I would not call it a garden world, but it is populated and it's fairly comfortable. Now the weird thing about Corden is that the population of Corden is only listed as around 2,000 people, but as you're coming in, you see that there are numerous settlements that you're seeing that there's people here that are not listed officially as population. And as you're coming in, you do receive a message from Rafe. Hold on here. And he comes up on your holo display. This is Mr. Rafe Zentuli. Mustachio. And he tells you, he says, welcome, Captain Beth. I didn't think that I would see your crew or your ship again after our misadventures on Marduk, or rather your misadventures on Marduk. But it is fortuitous that you are here. I have a invitation to a ball with one of the local leaders here on Corden. And her name is... I forgot. Her name is Baroness Lux. Now, as you're talking with Rafe, the library computer is bringing up information on Corden, and it is basically the library information tells you that Corden is currently ruled by 3 different barons. It would be considered balkanized, but not really. So there were originally several more barons, and they have basically whittled each other down to the last 3, Baroness Lux being one of them. The population that is listed for the planet is only the populations that are living in the barons and baronesses' fortresses. The commoner people, of which there are maybe 1 million or more inhabitants on the planet, are not listed in the official population score of the planet. Only the upper crust, everybody beneath the nobility, is considered chafe. They're not even listed as citizens. But Rafe tells you that that he will meet you at Baroness Lux's modest chalet, he states. And he said, once you arrive, we can, of course, discuss your... I've been informed by someone named Lemuel Vinus that you are in need of legal protections, shall we say? I don't want to say too much over communications.
Yeah, you got it right.
He says, all right. And he gives you a landing code, tells you where to land, and which is right down here.
Everybody get your fancy pants on.
So, yeah, how are you guys dressing for this ball? Are you going in a dress uniform as if you are members of Drinax's court? What do you... Or are you just putting on suits? What are you doing?
Suit. I've never been inducted into the court.
I'm going to use my full Drinax stuff. In fact, I think I might start adding the ally of the Immortal Protector as part of my title claim crap. You know, Knight of Yggdrasil,
I don't know that you want to
Protector.
Well, keep in mind, you guys are the only ones that have actually ever officially met the Immortal Protector outside of, you know, the super high elites in the Shield Church. Most people on Neumann, or anywhere else for that matter, think that the Immortal Protector is actually a person. You know differently.
Oh.
Not only is the Immortal Protector an android, but the Immortal Protector is actually an AI, a world-spanning AI that controls the Immortal Protector drone. So I don't know that you want to go around advertising that kind of thing.
All right. Well,
that could prove unhealthy in the lead poisoning kind of way.
Yeah. Then I will not. I'll not claim that one. But yeah, I'm going with my Drinax uniform.
Okay. So as far as like not being so Ox not being pulled into the court of Drinax, the ship has plenty of Sindalian dress uniforms that these guys have basically been using, because aside from being you're not technically pirates, you're actually privateers, and the Harrier is as much a commerce raiding vessel as it is for Drinax a vessel of diplomacy. So you know, you guys are Oleb's emissaries when trying to deal with such situations. So that's what I wanted to know. I mean, right now, because your real identities are wanted, I don't know that it's up to you if you want to wear Sindalian uniforms or if you want to try to be a little bit more low key. I mean, you can still dress up.
I'm wearing a suit.
There you go.
I'll wear the fancy dress I bought to wear to that dinner on Thieves.
Okay.
I'll probably be underdressed, but whatever.
No, not really.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines as the captain. I'll wear the fancy dress outfit that I have.
Your snazzy pants.
Yeah.
All right, so Beth and Keith are both wearing dresses. And Rexar, what are you?
Formal military attire, obviously.
Okay, so Aslan military attire, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically,
quote unquote formal.
Yes, basically a kilt and no shirt, but you are wearing a necktie. That's key.
And if we're wearing stuff from the previous fancy event, Rexar has that little tiny hat that he wore last time.
Oh yes, of course. So, you guys land at this what he called a chalet. When the ship sits down, you realize that this isn't really a chalet or a mansion per se, but really it seems to be more of a military compound. Like, at first you thought, well, that can't be the right coordinates. This looks more like a prison. But no, it is indeed a military complex. This is her chalet, as it were, her fortress. And you are met by Rafe and a small retinue of her baronial guards, and he welcomes you. Well, welcome to Corden. So glad to see you again. And he shakes Beth's hand and kisses her hand, in the standard sleazy, greaseball kind of way. And he says, "Please, let's enjoy some drinks before the ball begins." And he takes you to a small private chamber. And as soon as the door is closed, he hits a button on the desk, and you could hear, if you've ever worn active sound canceling headphones, that sudden pressure loss, like your ears just plugged up. The whole room gets like that. And he said, when he speaks, there's no echo, there's nothing. You can't hear anything outside those walls. And he says, so, as to your legalities, and he opens up a small briefcase, and he pulls out actual physical identification cards. He says, in the meantime, you'll want to use these. They are assumed identities. So you guys can make up a new name for yourselves. You can tell people, you can come up with a background for this person, whatever you want. Of course, your stats are exactly the same, but this will be your new name. He says these can get you past most discerning authorities. And he also gives Beth a physical logbook and a wafer chip to put into the Harrier that will alter the Harrier's logs under the ship's new name, the Anubis. It will alter flight records, things of that nature. It is also registering Anubis as the official Drinaxian emissary vessel. So if you want to start flying the Sandalian colors once again, you can. And that, again, should pass most scrutiny. He can't promise that it'll work on everything. But he says, in the meantime, that will work in the very near future. In the meantime, I would recommend staying a month or two here on Corden. Just kind of let the heat die down. And he says, I realize that there is a situation happening on Marduk with the Imperial Patrol Corvette Sincerity. And one of your ships have been captured. I don't see that we can get them out. I can't get them out.
And if I interfere, then that'll make it look worse for them.
Potentially, yeah.
It'll definitely make it look worse for us.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to make your situation any better. But I mean, thrilling heroics.
He doesn't have any ideas about a workaround or anybody we can hire to help them.
In his opinion, he thinks that in your current situation, if you don't, he basically puts it to you like this: you have a choice. You can embrace your current status as pirates and privateers and run off to face the danger, or you can lay low and let the heat die down a bit, and then move on with these new assumed identities. But you can't do both.
All right.
But he does say that he does believe that Baroness Lux is going to have a quite enticing offer that she has already broached with me that you may be interested in. I believe she'll speak to you about that at dinner.
Cool. So does he need to know all what we did, or really?
So he has been money from the Shield Church has been funneled into his account to the tune of 350,000 credits. And essentially what that is paying for is for him to contact the right people, put the pressure on the right assets, to press the right buttons to essentially lower your wanted level. He doesn't think that he'll be able to make it go away completely, but it's not going to be the current level of sending in, a small fleet of ships trying to stamp out piracy on the Dust Belt.
All right. Okay.
I'd prefer to keep my title. I kind of like the fact that it's starting to become notorious.
Right. I mean, that's the question here. How do you guys want to deal with it? Do you want to be scoundrels and pirates, or do you want to try and...
Rexar's titles are a part of his honor, so he's not giving that up.
Okay.
All right. Well...
I mean, if they could lower our wanted levels so that way, I mean, the amount of Imperium and other stuff is lessened, that'd be great. Maybe we could work on tidying up our mess a little bit more in the future so, we don't get as wanted,
So there are a couple of things. If you were to embrace being pirates and knowing that you're wanted, it's not as bad as it might seem, in that you do have quite a few havens that you have created, and you have a couple of contacts for fencing stolen goods. One included in the Aslan Herate with Tassie Two Toes. So it's not entirely a impossible thing to be wanted, and still it's not like you can't keep going on the way you're going. There might be some more interesting interactions with Imperial patrols, but probably nothing terrible with most patrols out on the Dust Belt.
So I have a question. What if we accepted these documents and the Anubis rewrite of our history, and don't use them now, but if we feel that we need to lay low for a while, we could use them and reboot?
That is a complete option. Yeah, you could pocket these and assume the identities later, and go on your way.
That's a smart idea. I like it.
Does he have access perhaps to high-level GDCO executives? What I'm wanting to do, and I'm willing to cut him in, is at a future time I want to try to auction off GDQ base and get the orders in such a way that they kind of move on out of there, and then we do a quick auction, get a whole bunch of money, and leave the area. And by the time they figured out that they didn't want to sell all that stuff, we have the money, and we'll have a nice chunk of change, profit, if you will.
He tells you that he does not have. He has some assets in Jadeco. They are not of the level that you would be required for you to do that. But he does know, and this information is the one and only time he's going to give it away for free for you, since he's received such a large amount from the Shield Church. That a general development facility has recently been evacuated and abandoned. And he says that it is a facility on Blue.
Wow. And it's just been abandoned there?
He has not been able to get solid information on as to why, but something happened, and the order came down from up high that they were to abandon the facility. He doesn't know what was going on there. It was some kind of top secret, high level research.
Oh. Well, Captain, I would be interested in investigating that on Blue at some point in time.
Now, these guys have been to Blue prior to Ting and Ox joining. On Blue, they discovered what they believe was a psionics academy run by Jadeka.
Okay, I was trying to remember which one.
And there was a missing debutante that was a student at said academy that basically ran away, and she boarded a free trader, ran away from the world, and they lost track of the free trader or anything on it after it ran into a Aslan slave raiding party from the Glorious Empire.
Oh. So in order to do that quest line, we have to be willing to go into Aslan space?
They've already kind of followed that avenue up, and they came into a dead end. They don't know what happened to this girl.
Yeah, we weren't really.
Okay. The abandoned Deco base on Blue, I think, is interesting. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure it holds lots of secrets that I want to learn.
All right.
Ox, do you have any input?
Well, if we're going to use the new IDs, let's not instantly sully them. That's all I got to say.
Well, right, and that's what Keith is suggesting, is that if you are going to you get these IDs, doesn't mean you have to use them right now. You can kind of sit on them a while, and then later, if things get way too hot and more than you can handle, you can lay low for a couple of months, assume these new identities, and then reemerge with new identities and a new, all new backgrounds, and kind of evade the law that way. You don't have to do it right away.
Will we need to contact him when we decide to initiate our lay low for a couple
No,
of...
is the first time that you use that identity for anything, essentially landing at a starport or applying for credit, anything, it's going to flag in the system, and that will immediately kick it off.
Okay, thank you.
So you go to this ball, and you're hobnobbing with all of these, what you would think of as foppish nobles. These nobles, they're even worse than the nobles that you've met on the floating palace of Drinax. So the nobles that you meet on Drinax is very not what you would expect from Imperial space. We'll just put it that way, because everybody on the floating palace, including the janitors, are all of nobility. They're all titled. They're all interrelated. There's going to be a lot of banjo playing, and there's going to be a lot of crossed eyes. They've been up there for a long time. You can't really blame them too much for that. And they hand out titles for ridiculous things like, oh, you clean the toilets really well, so we're going to give you a knighthood, and you get landed gentry on some planet that doesn't even belong to us anymore. The nobles here are kind of on that same level. They are all existing inside this fortress in their own little echo chamber. And so all of their clothing seems to be about 2 or 3 years out of date. They talk like they know what's going on, but you have the same information that they have. It's like they're getting all of their information from the Traveler News Service, and they literally have like no clue what's going on outside these walls because none of them ever leave. And the mere mention of the idea of leaving is like to what? To walk among the peasantry? What? They're not even people. So your time at this ball is rather tedious, and then you are seated with Rafe next to Baroness Lux during this ridiculously ostentatious dinner, and Baroness Lux bears right down and gets to the nitty gritty of what she really wants. And so you notice that in the Great Hall, this is the Lux. Oops. This is the Lux house crest, and she tells you that just like the library computer told you, there were originally numerous barons on the planet. They have whittled them down to just the 3 barons. Herself, who she tells you has a great deal of influence and power, but not quite enough to take over the planet entirely. But most of her fame has come from actually doing something about removing Aslan Ihati from the region. And there were some warring Aslan Ihati clans that were on the planet. Her house forces put them to either rest or got rid of them, chased them off the planet, and that made her fairly popular with the people. Now, the other thing that has made her popular with the people is that she has taken copious amounts of her money outside of these. So in this palace, you're seeing that they're living at like a tech level 9 society. Outside the walls, most everything is more like tech level 5, most places. However, to add to her popularity, she has donated funds for tech level 9 hospitals and farming equipment, things like that. The people really like her, but that money only goes so far, and she realizes that her popularity is fleeting. The other Baron, Baron Pharaoh, is at present on the brink of hostilities with the other Baron, Baron Jali. She tells you that they're at hostilities over a border area that has been in dispute for years. Pharaoh is moderately popular with his people, and his barony is currently stable in both political and economic powers. Pharaoh has the largest population base of all 3 of us, giving him a manpower advantage. Then there's Baron Jali. He has an extremely well-fortified baronial hall, which most people refer to as his castle. He seems to have access to more TL9 manufacturing equipment, and a slightly larger personal guard than I do. Despite all of this, he seems to have suffered a setback recently. I think that perhaps Jali has offended some Imperials and has quietly admonished, or they have quietly been admonishing his trade income, and his trade is down. Although exports are much the same, so I don't think they're paying him as much. This suggests that he has been hit with a tariff or simply offered a lower price for his goods. Most of his ships, the bulk grain and foodstuffs are sold to are Imperial, and this fits with the possibility that he has done something to upset the Imperium. The cordon is actually considered a imperial client state, although their interest in the planet is only so far as that we keep our spaceport open. I would like to hire you to do something to make me the only Baron, or to make me the one in charge. And she says, and I have some plans about this, but it would require that you, how do they say, that you don't mind a little wet work.
Do any of these planets' exports line up with the needs of Tech World?
Food. Corden is essentially, so originally Corden was a vassal world for Arunasir. How that came about is hard to tell, but they were basically a breadbasket for the planet Arunasir, which is right next door. And then the Aslan Ihati raided Arunasir, and by extension raided Corden, and that relationship kind of ended. So Corden has a lot of farmland.
That sounds very helpful.
It does. How do they feel about starting to export food to Tech World?
Well, she says, if you were to assist me with gaining the stewardship of Corden and being the only Baron, or at least the Baron in charge, I would have no problem allying Corden with Tech World, supplying them with food. And as well as recompense for you and your duties, I would be willing to give you a land grant complete with a baronial castle here on Corden.
Awesome.
Well, you would actually be fine under the Drinax banner and supplying food in Tech World in our behalf.
She doesn't have a problem with the idea of signing on to the Kingdom of Drinax should this work out, as long as Corden could also maintain cordial relations with the Empire, because I mean the border's right there, and so Corden is one of the stop-throughs for Imperial trade convoys.
Right. Well, I mean, all we're asking for is for a safe landing spot where we're treated as a haven, and
you would have your own castle and lands.
Yeah.
And your own peasantry.
Now, are you saying own castle and lands like each of us, or one castle and land for all of us to manage?
One castle with a private spaceport and the surrounding lands. There's probably a town involved, and of course the people under your rule.
And you would be willing to send these food goods through our personal port, exiting that way as you're funneling it to Tech World on our behalf? We could handle the refueling and things like that. We can manage and make sure things are...
trade shipments and things of that nature would have to go through the main starport. But private shipping and anything that you decide to do on your private land vassal, that's entirely up to you.
Oh, okay.
But as she said, before we can decide all of that, you would have to let me know that you would be okay committing an assassination.
Oh.
Yeah, of course. That's fine. I don't really care. How discreet does she need this to be, though? Because people are going to ask questions like, should they disappear? Should it look like an accident? Should we just shoot them and then she looks like, like a scary person that no one wants to mess with?
She says in this case, a very public shooting would be most appropriate.
Okay, that's super easy. We can definitely work that out.
So we will pick up on this little Interesting endeavor. Next week at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night with Pirates of Drinax.
All right, see you then.
Bye.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks. That was pretty fun.